What's up, guys? Derek from PlaySmartDates.com. Today we're going to be talking about the doping expert that testified on behalf of Lance Armstrong, who has now also been caught for doping, which is the quite the coincidence, I would say. And basically, this guy is classified as an expert on doping in sport, and he sat on a working group of the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, and acted as an expert witness for Lance Armstrong as he fought charges of misuse of federal funds. And he himself now has been banned from cycling for 4 years after testing positive for not one, but several banned substances at the US Masters Track Championships last year. And the substances in question are, they show this big long chemical name, but essentially it's a metabolite of oxandrolone, which is Anavar, and they also tested positive for a metabolite of Clomid, so a very notable oral anabolic steroid and a selective estrogen receptor modulator commonly used in a post-psychotherapy context. So, obviously it's not a coincidence that you might have a SERM in your system, for post-psychotherapy from a performance-enhancing drug that suppresses your HPTA. The thing that's more interesting about this, not necessarily just the hilarious coincidence of this guy is an expert on doping getting popped for doping, is something that I might delve into in future videos is that I've been asked for is covering different sports and the kind of drug practices that are used for those sports and how I think it all ties in. So why do certain fighters use certain drugs? What's the, the attributes that a drug provides in like a sprinter versus like a bodybuilder versus a, UFC fighter versus a NBA basketball player? Like what would be, applications for different drugs, and, why would somebody pop for certain things? Like what is the logic behind using Anavar, for example, in, cycling. So that's cycling. Yeah. Perfect word to describe what this is, no pun intended. So that's something I'm probably going to delve into in future videos. But anyways, just a broad summation of Anavar. It's like a really dry compound. It's not known for packing on a significant amount of volume and mass. It's more so something that provides a big increase in force production with low body weight, which is where the appeal would really draw into cycling for somebody who is looking to maximize power output without cranking their body weight up, which not only would body weight hinder somebody who's trying to make certain weight classes, which is a bit less relevant in a cycling context, but it's more relevant in, like fighters and whatnot. But as far as how it relates to a cyclist too, the higher your body weight is, even if it's muscle tissue is going to require more oxygen and blood in order to support that tissue than even fat would. So when you crank your body weight through the roof with huge amounts of muscle, that is going to hinder your endurance. And this is why when you go through, if you look at a physique of a 100-meter sprinter all the way down to like a marathon runner, you'll notice essentially, not dose dependent isn't the right word, but like a diminishing level of muscle mass per the length of the running. So a 100-meter sprinter is the most jacked. Then you have the 200-meter, then you have the 400, you have the 800, you have the whatever, all the way down to marathon. You'll notice that they get more skinny fat and less muscle the further down you go. And the reason for this is literally what I just said, is that you are not built for an endurance type event the more muscle mass you carry. So this is why really muscle-bound fighters also gas out really quick, and somebody who's really muscle-bound on a bike is also not going to be acclimated to win a long cycling event. So this is where something like Anavar is more advantageous than something like a nandrolone or a high dose of testosterone or another 19-nor or any other kind of traditionally not bulking but like very volume driving compound. And Anavar is something that is going to provide the sought after power output benefits with a relative lack of all of the other stuff that could come along with that somebody like a bodybuilder might be seeking. So that's where the logic of this drug choice really like falls into place. And how Clomid really just ties into this is it's a selective estrogen receptor modulator that essentially just acts as a way to facilitate a more balanced hormone profile during recovery. So instead of leaving yourself in a state of endogenous testosterone suppression where you could have, estrogen dominance and encounter, gynecomastia and a bunch of other issues, it supports, a more balanced recovery whereby you could potentially avert, some other probable outcomes that may come as a result of having shut down androgen production. So it just acts as a, this is just a very, very obvious example of somebody who used steroids and then tried to recover from using steroids. Like there's no other reason you would use Clomid unless you had like a fertility issue and you were trying to get your wife pregnant or something. So anyways, that's where this comes into play. His ban has been backdated to August 31st, 2019, the date he provided his positive test sample. Has been disqualified from competitive results obtained on and subsequent to that date, including forfeiting of any medals, points, and prizes. Blah, blah. Yeah, anyway. Just, pretty much kind of reinforces that if in these kind of events, in any like high level sport, if a guy can get away with cheating or get away with enhancing himself, or however you want to term it, he's going to. So, and there still is ways to circumvent testing regardless of how strict, the enforcement may make it seem. At the end of the day, they want athletes to perform at a ridiculously high level because this is how the sports bring in money, is having athletes continuously push the envelope. So, if you get caught, it's almost like a result of negligence on your own part to have not in all cases, but in some cases, it is not really planning your protocol properly or in an intelligent manner, I guess, if you were to not, account for, especially if you're an expert in doping, like you would think you would have been able to circumvent this, not get popped for it. So anyways, take from that what you will. I don't want to get too off track. I think I might do some sort of series in the future on, different sports. And like I said, the PEDs that go into it, the attributes of each of them, and where, the pros and the cons lie of each thing, and why certain athletes have tested positive for X. What was their justification for using it? Like, why would a coach have, told them to use it? If you have any interest in that at all, let me know in the comments down below, or if you have like a suggestion or something you want me to cover, let me know, and I might jot it down and create like a running list of stuff I feel is worth delving into further. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Helps the algorithm. I really appreciate when you guys do that. It really helps me get the channel promoted to other people who might not otherwise see my channel in their, recommended feed. Follow me on Instagram at moreplates_moredates, Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, wherever I am. Talk to you guys soon.